Welcome back to your Winnipeg Jets. And guys, we could not defend our Stanley Cup championship. We lost to the Colorado Avalanche. We are going to see who ends up winning the Stanley Cup. But I think one of the big things is, we did well in the regular season, heck, set records, broke NHL records. But what we're missing is a little bit of that depth and a little bit of that balance. So we probably need to find ourselves some more two-way forwards, some more grinders, some more penalty killers, right? We've got Adam Beckman here, who I think is an absolutely fine fourth liner. He's not ideal, right? I'd like to see that defensive category be a little bit better, but we ended up having Jordan Dumais, who is fine. Hopefully he does develop a bit more. He had 13 goals, 30 points in the regular season, plus 6. The defensive category is kind of dreadful. But then you look who we have scratched. Frank Nazar, Luchenko, right? These guys, 24, 21, Luchenko, they probably still have plenty of value, but Frank Nazar is not what this team is looking for right now. And as much as I'd love for him to be part of the next wave, that next generation, Scheifele at 35, showing no signs of slowing down. Ehlers is 32, and Kyle Connor is, I believe, 31. So these guys still have time left in their legs. And we have Lundell, Perfetti. Oh, wow, Perfetti is, I think, just upset with his performance, but Stankoven, even Sugihara. And then you take a look at in the AHL, we've got Bowman, who I would like to give a spot to. This 20-year-old low elite sniper honestly has a pretty good defensive category, so I wouldn't mind playing him, in the NHL. Maybe we do get rid of a guy like Jordan Dumais as well. He's 24, right? Maybe we get rid of him if we can find something good for him. But I think what we want to do is find ourselves some two-way forwards, some power forwards, some decent penalty killers, guys that are going to be a little physical, right? Our team is probably, not leading the league in hits, that's for sure. I'm looking like Sugihara is at least 6'3", so at least we're not tiny, but we're very skilled, not physical, not defensive-minded, right? Our defensive core has got Morrissey and Pionk, 2 offensive defensemen. We've got Spence, who is an offensive defenseman as well. Now, he's very good with Mikey Anderson, right? Like, I'm fine with that. But, Jones needs a new contract, and I don't think we're going to be able to give him one. And I don't think he's going to want it, first of all. And then Gavrikov here, defensive defenseman. So I think if we can find ourselves a solid two-way forward to replace Zach Jones, or two-way defenseman, to replace Zach Jones, I feel like we'd be pretty happy with that and satisfied. We also have to make sure we don't hold up a roster spot because we have Landon DuPont coming in the future. If we take a look in the system, where is DuPont? Defenseman, and there he is. 76 medium franchise. We'll see what he does develop into, right? He's got that, he's an offensive-minded defenseman, but he's really well-rounded already at just 18, so I'm hoping that by next season, maybe, he can play for us, maybe 2 seasons, right? But we've got a bright future. Taking a look at the expiring contracts, again, it's Chibrikov, who we could let walk. He's a playmaker who's not the best defensively, not really a penalty killer, a guy that I believe is an RFA. He only wants $1 million, so it's not the end of the world. He is an RFA. Letting him go, Jones go. I mean, I'll bring back Phillips. Like, he was a perfectly fine 7th defenseman. He didn't end up playing 2 years. Okay, yeah, he's coming back. There we go. All right. And then goaltending, right? We aren't expiring with the goaltending, but we've got Carter George, who's an 83 at 21. Everybody's happy because I guess Isaac Phillips was just a great locker room guy. So happy to see that. Hellebuck, though, now all of a sudden his no trade clause kicks in. It's no longer a no movement clause. So we can get rid of him. I feel like one more year letting George grow behind Hellebuck and then move on from Hellebuck after the season. I would like to give Hellebuck one more opportunity. I think maybe his puck control needs to go, his athleticism. Maybe we'll talk about his athleticism in the offseason. But honestly, I think the team is pretty solid. A couple minor trades, maybe an upgrade. Mikey Anderson, his morale is just low, but it shouldn't be for any playing reason. It's performance. I guess part of it's management. He's a top 4 defenseman getting top 4 ice time. Not really sure why. It's probably because we got eliminated, but that's okay. So we'll move into the offseason now, see who wins the Stanley Cup, see the results of the lottery, and, well, we're probably going to make a lot of trades at the draft again. But hey, I have fun doing that, and I think you guys enjoy that. And there it is, guys. We did end up losing to the Stanley Cup champion, Colorado Avalanche. They absolutely dispatched Edmonton in 6 games, and then a 5-game win in the Stanley Cup final. So Colorado was definitely destined this season to be the the Stanley Cup champion, but he's done it again. Back-to-back Norris Trophy wins for Josh Morrissey. So he's going to get another +2 to his defensive awareness, strength, endurance, and his morale is going to go up. I'm absolutely pumped that he was able to win the Norris back-to-back year. Connor Hellebuck, did he win the Vezina? He did. He did win the potential likelihood increase. What potential likelihood increase? I don't know what that means, but maybe his potential could go up because he won the Vezina. Not sure that's going to matter because he's 34, so I'm not really worried. That's so silly that he gets a potential likelihood increase. Like, whatever. Either way, he won the Vezina. He did exactly what we needed him to in the regular season. Hopefully, he can now do it in the postseason next year like he did last year, but there we go. 2 trophies coming home. The President's Trophy as well. So the team trophy, we'll see. Maybe the William M. Jennings as well. So lots of trophies coming to Winnipeg this year. Let's take a look at the awards real quick. Yep, the Avs won the Stanley Cup. We won the President's for the 3rd straight year. And then it was Colorado versus Washington, as mentioned. In individual awards, the Art Ross went to Kyle Connor. Scheifele wins the Hart. Norris goes to Morrissey. The Lady Bing goes to Scheifele. Sugihara wins the Calder as Rookie of the Year. Cal McCarr wins the Conn Smythe. It's the one we haven't gotten so far. The Vezina to Connor Hellebuck. And the William M. Jennings to Connor Hellebuck as well. Brady Shea wins the Masterton. Interesting there. And the Jack Adams goes to Goodbranson with the Chicago Blackhawks. Selke goes to Couturier, I believe, for a 2nd consecutive season. Scheifele wins the Ted Lindsay. And the Maurice Rocket Richard goes to Nathan MacKinnon. So, guys, we raked home a ton of trophies. Didn't win Lord Stanley's Cup, but we got a bunch of individual accolades and individual recognition for all of our best players. So let's go ahead, keep it rolling here. And there are the lottery results. San Jose jumps from 4 to 1. Seattle stays at 2. Buffalo still drafting in the top 5. That is heartbreaking for me, a Sabres fan. But the salary cap is $101 million, and we're going into the 28-29 season. It's going to be much, much higher than that, IRL. So I'm very excited to see in NHL 26 how the cap, it's going to be a lot of fun. I feel like franchise mode, if they do it right next year, is going to be a lot of fun. If they do GM connected with the cap increase, oh man, it's going to be a legendary game. But Chris Letang, Corey Perry, Henrique, Yossi, Brody, Shen, Kulikov, Shen, the Shen brothers retiring. Petrie, Nelson. Okay, so Taylor Hall retires. Wow, I guess he was kind of injury prone. A little bit, I'd say, but I'm surprised he hasn't played more games. But there you go, guys. A lot of big names retiring. A lot of familiar faces going. As far as goaltenders, it's Fleury is finally going to call it quits at 43. Semyon Varlamov and David Rittich and Aaron Dell as well. So that's crazy that Fleury finally decided to retire. But let's see. Any retirements for the coaches for us? Violet James is going to retire, so Manitoba needs a new coach of some sort, but I'll deal with that later. Draft interviews, I'm not worried about it. Let's get to the draft and make some trades, right? Because I think what I want to do is trade away guys like Frank Nazar and probably some of the guys that we aren't going to resign. Like, the team just looks so good. Sugihara's up to an 89 high elite now. See, guys, this is why we put him on that top line. He had 50 goals in his rookie season, 91 points. I mean, he's just going to feed off of those to Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele. So he's already an 89. He's going to need a big contract. But the good news is he's got 2 years left on his ELC after this one. So I am absolutely fine with that. Anybody else jump crazy? Mikey Anderson's back up to an 87. Lambert's still an 84, so he's our perfect third line center. Dumais, maybe it's time to get rid of Dumais, move on from him in favor of Bowman, who's basically the same player, but is a little bit more defensively responsible, so I think that's what I'll do there. Luchenko's back up to an 83. Again, it sucks to get rid of some of these guys, but we might be able to land ourselves like a medium elite two-way forward or power forward if I can package him and Nazar together. Maybe it's being a little rich, but, you know, getting another young up-and-comer. And Jones does want a contract extension, but he's another offensive defenseman. Honestly, his defensive category is really good because we keep hammering into these guys about the defense, right? So 88 defensive awareness is not bad. As far as what his contract extension would want to be, yeah, we only have $4.28 million in cap space, and he's going to want $5 million. And I'm not paying $5 million for a third pairing defenseman for us, so it just doesn't make sense. Chiprikov's expiring. Bork, I think, is fine. You know, kind of I think I gave him a two-way deal. Decent fourth liner or AHLer, so we're fine there. Bowman's down to an 80 overall right now. I have a feeling he's going to jump. He did have almost 30 goals, 50 points in his first season in the AHL with Manitoba. He's only 20. His defensive category looks honestly pretty solid, 3 stars. It's going to get better. Hopefully defensive awareness grows. We'll get the boost with the preseason training. Skater, he's fine, right? So all around, I think this is the kind of guy I'll play on the third line. In the system, anybody jump like crazy? Labrie, yeah, we've got a couple low elites here. Labrie, Stafford, Couturier, so they'll probably get contracts and play down there in the AHL. As far as, I just want to see defensemen in the system. Franchise, DuPont, we haven't seen any growth yet, so I'll wait for that one, but let's go ahead, get into the draft, and maybe poke around with some trades. So this may feel a little silly, but I am going to go after Pavel Morozov here. We did take him in the 3rd round back in 2026. We ended up moving him to the Penguins so we could draft Landon DuPont. But you just look at him, he's exactly what we need, a great two-way forward. He's only an 82, so he's still a third-line forward. I mean, he can't skate worth a damn, but I mean, the dude knows exactly where to be, and he's only 20. He's going to have 2 more years on an ELC. They wanted Nazar a second and Mikey Anderson. I'm going to see if they'll take Jordan Dumais, just because he's very similar in value to Mikey Anderson, and I'd like to keep Anderson around, but Nazar and Dumais in a second, I feel like it's totally fine for that roster spot there that just plug him right in, so I would absolutely take Pavel Morozov back. Trade rejected. Okay, multiple players that fill a single need. That is the sticking point that I was worried about, but we're going to poke around and keep finding a way to get this done. So I think what I'm actually going to do is trade Jordan Dumais for the 25th overall pick, which will allow me to give up a 1st and a 2nd, as well as Nazar, and I won't have to do you gave us 2 players for the 1 need we need. So I'm going to do Dumais for the 25th overall pick this year. I feel like that makes sense for us, and we're going to go ahead and see if we can get Morozov now. So I know this isn't the deal for Morozov, but I felt like this would address another area that we were concerned about, and it's the blue line, right? A right shot, 2-way blue liner. And David Jiricek at 24, medium elite, looks solid, right? That defensive category is still really good. The offensive category is fine. Taking a look at his stats, right, he was a plus for Minnesota this year, has been, relatively solid. He's only playing 14 minutes a night, and he doesn't give the puck away a ton in those 14 minutes. He doesn't really block too many shots or hit too much, but I feel like there's still room for him to develop just a couple years, be that average guy to put with Mikey Anderson, not going to give away Spence, which is what they originally asked for. I decided to throw a 2nd and a 6th in there to see if maybe that's the equal value of Spence, but we'll see. But they wanted Luchenko and Bjornfoot. I'm not going to stop them if they want them for David Jiricek. A 2nd and a 6th instead of Spence. I feel like I'm fine with it. Maybe I could give up Spence. Maybe it's not the end of the world, but I think he's got a good contract on him. So I think I'd like to keep him. He's perfect for that 5-6 defenseman role, right? 84 overall. He signed for 1 more year after this at $3.4 million. So maybe I wouldn't be upset if the 2nd and the 6th don't go through, but we'll see. But we'll try this trade. It's rejected. You know what? Honestly, to flip those 2 guys and find something else, I feel like Spence, he was good for us. He did his thing. He wasn't the greatest, but he wasn't awful. I mean, he had 30 points, to be fair. 10% shooting percentage, that's crazy. Does block, giveaway, takeaway. I mean, it's fine. He's 27. He's going to need a contract after this, and it's probably going to be an increase. So I feel like Luchenko, Bjornfoot, and Spence for Jiricek. Yes, I'm giving up Luchenko and Spence, but at the end of the day, I think I'm getting the best player in the deal. Most upside, he slots perfectly into that middle pairing with Mikey Anderson with upside as well. So I'm optimistic about this deal. You flip Spence for Jiricek, you have to give up Luchenko because you have to get the better player, and we're going to propose the deal, and it's accepted. So David Jiricek, welcome to the Winnipeg Jets. And oh yeah, by the way, there is a sniper right wing left shot, Dmitry Ovechkin, and he's just really, really good playmaker, not a sniper. So a little bit different, but I just want to show you guys a little bit at the top here. We're still making trades. So I am going to try it. I'm going to give up a 1st and a 2nd, as well as Frank Nazar for Morozov. I'm throwing in the 4th just to see, but I'd love to get Morozov back. I think he's exactly what we need. Skating aside, I think this would make sense. Pittsburgh wants everything on the board there. The 1st round pick here really was Jordan Dumais. So if you think about it that way, maybe it's not a 1st and a 2nd. It's not a 1st that we would have had, but here we go. Is it going to go through? Rejected. Okay, what if I just do a 1st, 2nd, and Nazar for Morozov? Wow, okay, yeah, I already sent them this deal apparently, and I need to add more to the deal, which doesn't feel great. They really are driving a hard bargain for Mikey Anderson. Now, San Jose is loaded with elite talent. And I was looking at some of their players here. I believe it was Coots that I was looking at. No, it's not really Coots. It was St. Louis. That's who it was. And they've got this guy. Is it Dvorsky? No, I don't. Maybe it wasn't Dvorsky. With just insane. Oh yeah, he is. Was it him? It might have been him with the absolutely insane defensive category. The only sad part is there's no trades found. He's got another year left. He is 23. Like really solid player here. They also have Adam Jirasek. So could acquire them both. What if we did Dvorsky and Jirasek? And we have a trade for David. I might give him a first straight up. I might consider a first for this deal. 23 years old, 1 year left, medium top 6. I'd like a guy with a little bit more contract control. Again, the future, the elite talent. You know what? Honestly, Dvorsky and Jirasek for a first doesn't feel like the end of the world to me. Basically it'd be those two for Jordan Dumais. If I do the deal, and I get to keep my picks, which could be a decent move. And the only reason I want Jirasek, by the way, is because we just acquired his brother. But I don't actually want this guy. I mean, medium top 4, 79, 21. I honestly give him a chance to grow in the AHL, but it would probably make the deal not work. But a first straight up for Dvorsky, 1 year left at 1.6. He's got to fit the third line just fine, or the fourth line. I think we're fine with that as well. Elite defensive category. Like, again, just a reminder, he's an absolutely elite defensive category. 88 defensive awareness, 89 offensive awareness, 87 stick checking. I mean, the guy is just elite on the defensive side of the ice. I mean, his takeaway to giveaway ratio shows it right there. So I don't feel bad about giving up Jordan Dumais for Dvorsky. Trade rejected. Wow. Okay. Man, they are driving a hard bargain. Okay, what if I just throw in a fourth? Would that go through? Holy mackerel. All right. Well, back to the drawing board. So I am going to try and acquire Puck from the Seattle Kraken. They wanted a first, second, and Jirasek, which I don't really want to do, obviously. But Puck here, Patrick Puck, 20 years old, 81 overall, two-way forward, looks to be so well-rounded, really, really balanced. He's listed as a third-line checking forward. Looks like he's... first season in the NHL went pretty well, 9 minutes a night. Giveaway takeaway ratio wasn't fantastic, but at the end of the day, I'm not too worried about that right now in his career. Right, he's not going to be an absolute phenom just yet, but I mean, he's got all the makings of it. He's got 2 more years left on this great ELC. And like I said, that defensive category already being 4 stars for a 20-year-old. Just wait for the rest of it to develop, and you're going to have an absolute stud in your hands. He's going to follow the Lundell path, basically. Don't mind giving up Nazar and Bork. They're kind of redundant players. Nazar is a bottom 6 sniper, and Bork is a bottom 6 playmaker. Neither of them are really what we need right now. As well as my first, we still have the first, technically traded up, and as well as a second, I feel like it's worth it. Propose the trade, and all right, they want Nazar. What if I just did that? All right. Trade rejected. Yeah, okay. Woefully insufficient for what they're considering to be fair value. All right, so I'm gonna noodle it around again. I'm tired. It's so annoying, man. But I mean, maybe I could give up a guy like Lambert, but they wanted Mikey Jirasek here, which is basically Mikey Anderson. I really don't want to give up Lindell, Perfetti, or Stankov, and that's like the second line for us. But actually, Sugihara means Lindell is probably a third liner now. I don't want to give up Lundell, but is he on an expiring deal? No, he's got 2 more years left at $5 million. That is an absolute bargain. I mean, these guys are all bargains. Oh my God. Jirasek, speaking of bargains, is 4 years at $4 million. That's why I don't want to give him up. Brad Lambert is going to need a contract. So maybe we kick the can down the road and give up Brad Lambert for one of these guys. And well, we'll see. But I don't really want to give up Brad Lambert. He's been playing just fine. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So here's an interesting deal. It would be Frank Nazar and Chibrikov for another first. So we could end up getting another first. I'm very hesitant to give up 2 solid players to the Colorado Avalanche, but it's a first-round pick. I mean, it's 13 picks higher. We would get a 2 seconds from the Stars, but I feel like a first-round pick just has that aura around it that is just so much more valuable, it feels like. Versus 2 seconds. I mean, Verhoef, a second, and Gardner. Verhoef is a defenseman, medium top 4, 73 overall at 20. One of those guys the AI just is going to ask for in every trade, I feel like. But I feel like I got to get the first. If I can give up 2 firsts for like Morozov or something like that, 2 firsts and a second for Morozov, I feel like that's the deal to be done there. So I'm gonna take this deal from Colorado. I hate to see Nazar go to Colorado and pop off, but we'll see. He's defensively deficient, and we'll see where they fit him in. He does have another year at 1.25, and Chibrikov's expired, but I'm going to do it. It's a first-round pick. We're going to get some medium elite two-way forward. We need more balance in the bottom six. So we're back to the Penguins. Don't think that this deal is going to go through, but I'm at least going to give it a try. They asked for next year's first in Jirasek as well as Bork. I'm going to try and give him a first and a second as well as Bork. Probably not going to happen, but hey, doesn't hurt to at least hit submit. Yep. So we won't do that. We'll see if we can give up 28 and 32, 2 first-round picks in Bork for Morozov. It's like 28 spots higher, so I'd have to feel like it's worth a lot more. Trade rejected. Wow, woefully insufficient. All right, you need to check yourself there, Pittsburgh. I'm going to give up a third as well in this deal, 92. Maybe I can give up a future third instead. Yikes, dude. They are driving a hard bargain for Morozov. Woefully insufficient. That is crazy. What if I give up next year's second? I mean, I'm basically trading back for my own player here, but yeah, okay. Doesn't needs to be where at all. Yeah, we are far off. We are far off. So instead of Morozov, I am going to try and go after Seattle's Patrick Puck. 2 firsts and a second. I feel like it's fine to give this up. It's basically Nazar, Dumais, and a second. Not the end of the world, in my opinion, to give that up. I know 2 firsts looks aggressive, but Nazar, Dumais, and a second for Puck is rejected. Isn't where it needs to be at all compared to what they're being asked to give up. Oh, man, dude. I am... oh, my God. EA. So after thinking about it, I think I'm just going to do the deal. I think we need a guy like Morozov more than we need a guy like Jirasek. I feel like Morozov is harder to acquire than a guy like Jirasek. I can find the defenseman who's an 84, and they don't need to be medium elite, right? Like, yes, I gave up Spence and Luchenko for Jirasek, but it would basically be Spence, Luchenko, Bork, and let's just say Nazar, right? That's the 4 for a Pavel Morozov. It's a lot, but I don't at the end of the day, I don't think it's worth deliberating over. I'm tired of going back and forth with the AI. Jirasek does have a good deal on the horizon of I think it's like 3 years or 4 years at $4 million. If we'll just double check real quick. Jirasek here, his deal is, starting this coming season is 4 years, 4.2. Really, really solid deal, but we've seen ourselves been able to get deals like that in the past. And considering that would take all of our cap space in this upcoming season, I think I'm okay with it. They want our first from next year. I'm not going to give that up. Yes, it's probably going to be, 26th or later. But I would rather just give up first from this year because we have multiple. I mean, and I'm sure Pittsburgh's not going to complain with it this year's first. So Bork, Jirasek, and this year's first for Morozov. The trade is accepted. So Pavel Morozov, welcome back to the Winnipeg Jets. And as you guys can see, we've reacquired David Jirasek. We're going to give up one of our first this year, a second this year, and a second next year just to get him back. Because honestly, guys, there are no quality defensemen available in the entire NHL. Like, to build a D-core like ours and the way we're used to it, oh boy, there's nothing like this in the entire NHL, just so you know. Like, absolutely nobody has 4 or 5 quality defensemen. Like, I can flip through all the teams here, guys, real quick. Like, Pittsburgh, obviously, they are desperate for defensemen. They've got nobody. Taking a look at San Jose, they've got nobody. Seattle's pretty good. 388s is pretty solid. But then you go to St. Louis, their best is Lindstein here at 84 overall, right? Like, that's not good enough at all. Like, oh my God. Then you look at Tampa Bay. They don't really have any top-end defensemen. They just have a bunch of mid. Toronto just has Morgan Riley. Utah has, Sergachev and Dursey. But other than that, it's gone. Quinn Hughes, Hronik are pretty much the only things here because Brandstrom is on an expiring contract. Vegas has 2 defensemen as well. Washington here has, 3 defensemen. That's not too bad for them. Are they expiring? No, actually, good on you, Washington, actually having a defensive core. Anaheim, even their young, good defensemen have petered out, and they're 84s. Now, this is a solid D-core. It's not awful, but they're going to have to pay Romanov. We'll see how much cap space they have next year. But Boston, right? Boston's pretty solid, actually, believe it or not. Buffalo, known for having good defensemen. Well, they took another left shot defenseman, because why not take all the left shot defensemen, right? Buffalo. All right. Calgary has nobody here. Carolina even has nobody here. Like, you can see that, okay, Chicago's got a decent team, but like, our blue line is really good, and there's none out there. So that if we can acquire all the blue liners, well, I'm going to do it. And that's just basically my justification for going back to Jiricek, because he's like I was like, oh, we can find plenty of them. I can't find him for that, as cheap as he is and as good as he is. It's not really there. So what I am going to do is try and find a third pairing defenseman who can slot in just fine and not give the puck away. Everybody I find is able to give away the puck 120 times a season, playing 10 minutes a night. Impressive to say, but we do have a pick coming up, so we are going to have to scout what we're going to do with that one. So taking a look here, we're picking number 25 overall. I believe our scouts have identified a gem here, potentially Corey Bookboom. 3 years away-ish is a gem, so we'll see. I don't know why he would be a gem, but he's 3-bar medium elite, which is encouraging. There's also a guy like Stanley Gormley here, a power forward, 3 years away. We know he's medium top 6. There's Jody Zanata here. I believe he's a playmaker, so maybe less intrigued by that one. A couple medium elites, potentially. Other than that, there's some guys down here like Ekman Larson here at 43, Christian Ekman Larson, who I might want to take, but we don't really have a ton of picks. So I'm going to figure that out. So I think I am going to do it. I am going to move up from 25 to 22 to take that gem, that potential medium elite, right? That would be insane. Power forward type player that we could root for in the mid to late first here. I still want to get the low elite at 43, so we'll make some moves for that, but we're going to give up our first and third to move up these 3 spots. Honestly, I think Detroit's making out really, really well here, but the value that they're charging for this is just ridiculous. So we're going to accept that deal. We're now up to 22, so we can go ahead sim to that pick. There we go. Book Boom is coming. He's coming, guys. You better believe it. Book Boom. The gem, 3-bar medium elite, potential power forward, 3 years away, right? We think he's a gem, so we're gonna take him. I'm gonna trust my scouts, and he is medium elite. Let's go. Medium elite, 63 overall, 17-year-old power forward. So there is a power forward for the future. I know we've got a lot of skill players and whatnot, but this is a guy who's gonna get to the front of the net, get gritty in the corners, stand up for his teammates and things like that. Everything that you want to see. And just 17, 63. Very, very excited to have gotten that. Oh my God, that's a lot of trades. I have one more trade to do so we can get the 43 pick, 43rd pick, I should say, somewhere in that range. And then we can just finally get to the rest of the offseason. Well, that's crazy to see right before my pick. Madden, a medium elite goaltender, goes just one pick before us. Had no idea about him, right? I was looking for goalies and things like that too, but really nobody was out there. We're going to go after Christian Ekman Larson here and get ourselves a low elite 2-way forward. Somebody who's 1 year away from the NHL is 8. This is a gem. If you're telling me he's 1 year away, low elite, that is a gem. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a gem at 18, a 2-way forward who's low elite, gonna get a contract, gonna play first line ice time in the AHL, and immediately becomes a bottom sixer of the future for us. Like, absolutely instantly. He's coming out of the SHL, so we can play in the AHL in year number 1 for us. So that is fantastic. It cost us a 4th. I did the thing where I gave up a 6th and a next year's 7th, and I got a 3rd, and then I gave up our 4th this year and next year's 6th, and got another 3rd this year. So 3rd round picks are basically worthless to the AI, but they're actually worthwhile to me because 2/3 in Zach Jones's rights. That sounds so bad. And we can acquire this 2nd round pick, 8th in the 2nd round. So that's the 40th overall pick. That's a pretty high pick, a top 50 pick. That's crazy, but there we go. And taking a look at our draft pick here. We're still looking at a 3rd this year at 69. So we do have some guys in that range that I like. Maybe move up with a 5th from next year. But if we take a look at my pins, actually, I think I'd maybe just take Santiago McNabb. We could see if Halischuk or Matanen or Salo are there when we end up picking. They're all low top 6 forwards, but I think a low top 4 defenseman in Santiago McNabb here, 5 years away, so he's got a long time to develop and grow. There's also Zachariah Sutter here. There's no way he's an X Factor. Come on, let's be real, scouts. But I think another defensive prospect is what we need, because we have plenty of forwards. We've got elite forwards. We've got forwards that are going to fit the top 6. Now we have bottom 6 guys for the future for us. Honestly, I see no reason not to just go after a guy like McNabb. So if Salo, Montanen, and Halischuk aren't there, I may end up trading down a couple spots and not taking him there at 69. So we ended up moving out of 94, picking up a 5th round pick in the process. That 5th round pick was 153. I then saw what I could get for 153 alone, and we actually picked up Ryan McLeod and 156. So I'm going to take Santiago McNabb here. Actually, maybe I won't, because he should be there at 153. Maybe. Wait, hold on. Willie, am I just stupid? I'm just dumb. He's a riser, so we're gonna go ahead and just take him now. We'll see what maybe we can get with 156, but 57 overall, low top 4 defenseman. I'll take it. But we'll just show you guys really quickly. Ryan McLeod. I brought him in because I thought he'd be the perfect 4th line center that isn't gonna complain about ice time. Will totally be happy fitting the 4th line for us. 81 overall, 4th line forward, incredible skater, as you guys probably know. Solid defensive category. Wish the offensive categories were a little bit better, but then again, he's listed as a 2-way forward. He's a guy that's going to help penalty kill for us. He played in Buffalo and Washington last year. You can see he had 44 takeaways to his 43 giveaways, so they were pretty close. He did much worse in Washington than he did in Buffalo, but he hits a lot too, surprisingly, when given the ice time. So, honestly, a guy that's going to play 10, maybe 12 minutes a night for us. Put up a little bit of points, not going to shoot much for us, but at 28, kind of the perfect depth guy for us. And I'm just going to take that 5th and flip it for next year's 5th, because I don't really have any desire to take anybody with that 159. So just kick the can down the road, another 5th next year, and the rights to Dylan Coughlin. So maybe Dylan Coughlin could be the, that bottom pairing defenseman I'm looking for, and might be cheap. He's probably not. He's a defensive defenseman. I don't want to pair him with Gavrikov, so we are just going to go ahead and propose the deal. Get that one done. We got the rights to Dylan Coughlin. He's not getting a contract, so I'm just going to tell him right now, you can just go ahead and plan your free agency moves. And with that, our draft is done. Acquired another 3 prospects. One was a medium elite, one was a low elite, 75, and the other one was a low top 4 defenseman. So not a lot of draft picks again, but it's kind of the stage of life we are as a team, right? We are not one that's going to be desperate for picks and prospects. We just need a few players that are going to have an NHL future. And quite frankly, we do. Taking a look at our contracts. Well, let's just get into the contract stage, and we can talk about all the players here. So a couple coaches with expiring contracts, plus a retired coach. Only 2 RFAs, Zachary Lahuru, maybe? I don't know. I struggle with that literally every time it pops up. So if you guys know how it's said, please let me know in the comment section. But you can see here that everybody is just signed to a contract. Everybody's signed long-term. Lundell's going to expire after, not this season, but the next. Same thing with Sugihara. Same thing with Pion. Guys, we're so good. Brad Lambert needs a contract. Gavrikov's going to need a contract. Ryan McLeod does need a contract, and he does want to re-sign. So hopefully we are able to get him to take a relatively team-friendly deal. So I'm going to enter a negotiation with him to see if I can get him for maybe 2 years, or maybe one year, 1.5, saving as much money as I can here. Because really, is he the best player that is expiring? Yeah, and then Dylan Coughlin here, 30 years old, 78 overall, right-handed defenseman. If he takes a minor league deal, I'm going to give him one. And he's going to take a minor league deal. I absolutely love that. There we go. Can we get him to just full bar it? There we go. Full bar. I'm going to say, you know what? Let's just give him 1 year. Yeah, why not, right? It doesn't matter. All right. I'm going to do some of these negotiations, and there we go. We're going to get him back. But let's just get through this and maybe see what we can do. So we've made it up to free agency, and I do think all we need is 1 third pairing defenseman. And I want to find somebody who's good at moving the puck, but is more of a 2-way defender. That is the goal. But just taking a quick look at the contracts, we were able to get Ryan McLeod to sign. I had to give him the 1 year, 1.7. We'll see how he does down there on the 4th line, playing center for us, so we'll see. But again, it's Hellebuck and George. You guys know that. There's nothing fun there. We're used to that. Defenseman, it's Morrissey, Pionk, Anderson, Jirasek, and then Gavrikov. And then Coughlin probably will be our third defenseman to let Isaac Phillips just have a little bit more time to grow. I doubt he actually will, but just play him in the AHL down there. And then the forward core is largely the same with, well, I shouldn't say largely the same. There are some decent, there's some decent movement here. We've got Connor, Ealer, Scheifele, Sugihara, Lindell, Perfetti, Stankoven, Lambert, Morozov, McLeod, Bowman, Beckman. So I'd like to upgrade from Beckman to find an 80 overall, probably two-way forward. If not, Beckman is fine, but to me, he really feels like a 13th forward because I don't want him to take ice time away from AHLers. But I also don't think I want him playing the full season on the fourth line. So let's go ahead, see who's out there in free agency to potentially snag for that fourth line. So looking out here, Adam Fantilli is a free agent. Simon Nemec is a free agent. They're both RFAs. Jonas Siegenthaler is the number one player available. So we have 3.3 million. So we can splurge a little bit if he is a fantastic defensive defenseman. But if we really wanted a forward who is affordable, who, we can play on the third, fourth line if we really wanted to. All I really want is a fourth liner. I don't want to give big money and term to guys who want something. Hey, Nemesnikov, we could bring Nemesnikov back. I wouldn't mind it at all if we brought a guy like Nemesnikov back. Although he fits our fourth line. He played in Boston last year, and his contract, right? We wanted to clear up some cap space, but at 85, I think that ship has sailed, and I don't really think he's a fourth liner anymore. We've got Lawson Krause at power forward, but I don't love his defensive category. So we're going to take a look at who's got the best defensive category. Well, of course, it's Philippe Deneau. Adam Lowry's still out there. Honestly, Philippe Deneau, 80 over. Wow, he's still really, really good for the fourth line. He would be a fantastic penalty killer for us. 2 years, though, at just under $2 million for a 35-year-old Deneau. I don't know if I love it. There's Campbell here. Well, he's a 76 overall. Nils Hoglander, probably, he's asking for too much money for what I consider for that. Honestly, it's a bunch of 35-year-olds here, and then we kind of just start to, okay, is this Ivan? Yeah, the two-way forward, Ivan. Was he in Colorado last year? Not a good giveaway to takeaway ratio. I'm kind of surprised that, I guess that defensive category isn't the best. Take a look at Philippe Deneau. He is just, we're going to go after Philippe Deneau. I'm going to see if I can get him for a 1-year deal. He only wants 1.2 for 1 year. I will absolutely do that, but I'll actually just get him to accept the contract right away because I'm not too worried about this season's cap space. 1.7, 1 year. Don't have to worry too much about the drop-off. If it happens, whatever, we get rid of him. It's 1 year. So we're going to do that deal for Philippe Deneau. He's going to come in and be a fourth liner for us. Absolutely fantastic. Taking a look at the defenseman now with $2.4 million available. I kind of want to look for good puck movers. So I think it's, puck skills? Who's got the best puck skills here that's got a good... Oliver Shillington, but he's an offensive defenseman. I want a good puck-moving defenseman who's a two-way defender. Like Ty Smith here. Ty Smith could be one of those guys that comes in and it fits in just fine. Does not give the puck away much, and he was playing 17... Oh my God, a ton of minutes. And he only gave the puck away 60 times. So I feel like with 105 blocks, this is exactly the kind of player that I love to bring in for that bottom pairing. And he wants 3 years at $2 million. I will absolutely offer him that deal. 3 years at just under $2 million. I'm totally fine with that. It's totally movable. He's not a guy that I'm going to be married to, and it still leaves us with about $500,000 in cap space. So Ty Smith, welcome. And there we go, guys. All set on the additions in free agency. Now I guess it's kind of time to just poke around, see what's out there, see if we got any elite players that have snuck through that are not RFAs, like Casa here. We do need another goalie. Sebastian Casa, I'll bring him in. I'll bring him in for what, 2 years, 3 years? Oh, I'll give him 3 years at $1 million if that's going to get him to accept it immediately. 9.5? 3 years, 9.5, and he's going to accept. Beautiful. So we got ourselves another low elite goaltender for the pipeline. As far as, well, Simon Nemec, of course. Carson Lambos, medium top 4 at 25. Not a bad bet. I just bet on another guy here. There's also O'Rourke, but he wants like a real contract. I don't want to give out real contracts. I'd like to give out fake contracts if possible. Can we give him the same deal there? Yeah, like 9.5, 2 years, 9.5. Beautiful. So we have potentially somebody to replace Ty Smith. That's why I do this, guys. That's why I do this. And then as far as forwards, there's Chaz Lucius. I don't really think he's ever made it anywhere. Has he played in the NHL? Yes, he has for Chicago. He's played 2 full seasons, so good for him. Wasn't really good outside of his rookie season, so I'm not rooting against him, but kind of feel bad. But as far as AHLers, I'd like to give our time to the guys like our low elite. So I'm going to leave it there. Those are the signings we made. I need to find a coach. Scouts are all set. Let's jump to the lines. Here we go. Time to take a look at the lines and see what... I forgot what season we're in, but it's the 28-29 season, what the 28-29 Winnipeg Jets are going to look like, and they're going to look insane as per usual. We are kind of used to this at this point. Ooh, Cole Perfetti down to an 86. I really do hate to see it. Listed as a first line forward as an 86, I guess, it's not even Morale. I don't know what's going on with Cole Perfetti, but he's got a ton of X factors. Lundell for Morozov. There we go. Nikolai Ehlers not playing center. Lundell will play center. There we go. Honestly, yeah, I'm not too sure if I love the fact that that Perfetti is down to an 86. Yes, he's got all those X factors. Yes, he's medium elite. But is he the kind of guy we move on from? I mean, he fits the second line fine, but he thinks he's a first line forward. He's certainly not going to be happy with playing third line ice time. Bowman would be, though, and he's up to an 84. Interesting to see him. And then, yeah, Ty Smith, Carson Lambos. I feel like, oh, yeah, no, we had Beckman, but that's fine. But Sugihara up to a 90 with all these X factors now. He's going to be an absolute stud. This guy's going to be I'm so happy that we traded for him. I forgot who we traded for it, but I wonder how they're doing. But honestly, guys, I feel like this is the best top 6 in the league. Absolutely. The third line as Lambert with Morozov. Who's a right winger. Maybe I can convince him to play the third line. And then Bowman is a sniper. So we have what? Sniper, two-way forward, power or two-way sniper. Okay. And then, I mean, maybe we could put Perfetti there on the third line. But again, I'm worried about him thinking he's a first line forward, not actually being a first line forward because he's an 86 overall. He's not even close. I wonder if we move on from him to get whatever kind of value we can, because let's see, his contract kicks in with a no trade clause. So what is it, $6 million? Yeah, he couldn't have given him a no trade clause. So we do have the whole table available to us, the whole league. But there we go. That is at least the initial glance at the team. Really, really solid, especially with Perfetti down here on the third line. But again, worried about that role, so I may have to move on from him. Defensively, Mikey Anderson's down to an 83 as well. So I'm not entirely sure what it was that, I mean, he hates me. I don't know why. I don't know what I did to you, Mikey, but he is not my biggest fan. Jirasek, still an 84. And then they have Phillips. I don't want that to be Phillips. I want that to be Ty Smith. So there we go. I mean, Morrissey, Pionk, still fantastic. And then in goal, George and Hellebuck, still 93, 83. So we'll see if Carter George is going to jump soon, but I don't know. And then Lambos and Phillips, there we go. I'll probably just have them do whatever they want to do. And then in the AHL, you can see if we do head coach preferred lines. I did try to sign some of our low elites. Where are they? Oh man, did I get too many players in here? Oh nope, there's him. Yeah, it looks like maybe I have too many players signed. So Kevin I think he's low top 9. So Nikkanen, I brought Henry Nikkanen back, but Jonathan. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's one of those. They're playing in the CHL. That could be it. One of our low elites could be in the CHL, but he was a defenseman. Duh. It's Sword here, isn't it? Nope, not Graham Sword. Nope, it's not Nikkanen either. All right, well, I'll find him. We'll figure it out. But honestly, the teams both of them are looking very, very good. Coughlin there with Brett Bauer and Lassie Thompson with Simon Lundmark, so that's fine. And in goal, Milic with Casa. Oh, maybe we have to get rid of Thomas Milic because we have Daigle. We've got Daigle who's a 77, so we'll probably have Casa and Daigle be our goaltending tandem down here in the AHL, and then should be fine. But honestly, guys, what do I do with Cole Perfetti? What to do with Cole Perfetti is the question, because Lundell needs a contract sooner. He's probably going to ask for a lot more money, right? So Lundell's signed through this year and next year. Perfetti is signed for the next 4 years, including this one, right? But he does have a no trade clause that kicks in. Stankoven, who I really don't have any desire to move on from. He's also medium elite. He's signed for 2 more seasons after this one. So it's really these 3 guys are going to need to be phased out. Maybe Perfetti's the first guy to phase out. You put Lambert back at third line center with Bowman and Morozov, and then I call up a guy like Beckman or Kupari. Beckman, Wagner, or Kupari, I feel like they would all be fine. Fabian Wagner here. Maybe we could also sign somebody. But anyway, that's the dilemma I'm faced with here, guys. So you let me know your thoughts. But again, the team looks fantastic. The top 6 is +5s on both lines. Perfetti, if I advance a week and he thinks he's no longer a first line forward, I'm cool with keeping him. But if he thinks he's still a first line forward, I mean, we could give him first line ice time like that on the power play. It's just like, good Lord, I just want to give Sugihara that time on the first line power play like that. Like, I feel like that's perfectly fine. And Bowman gets second line power play time. Totally cool with it. And I feel like our penalty kill is actually going to look a lot better. Lundell Dano, I feel like that's fantastic. We've got McLeod Lambert, perfect. And then we've got Scheifele Sugihara. So I really think the penalty kill looks pretty good. Morrissey, Anderson, Jirasek, Smith, and Gavrikov, Pionk. Gavrikov did drop from an 83 to an 80, so I'm a little bit upset about that, but it is what it is. But guys, that is all the time I have for this one. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see some more, and I will see you guys in the next one.